Welcome to Steve McDonald's Arts and Crafts. So today I'm actually going to be doing something a little bit different. I love working with oil pastels and I haven't worked with them for ages because I've really found it difficult in the past to find something to seal them without them getting damaged or marked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a oil pastel picture, and then I'm going to seal it with the sealer that I normally use for alcohol inks or anything else that I'm going to coat with resin, and see if I can coat an oil pastel picture with resin. And I've got quite a large selection of oil pastels. What I normally do is I normally sketch something out. I then go on it with oil pastels. I like quite a rough paper because I don't always want a completely smooth finish. And then I kind of put them in a folder. I don't really look at them after that, and I like them. So this is an experiment. I'm going to do this on quite a fast speed because I'm sure you don't want to just watch a video for an hour or more of me doing an oil pastel picture. So we'll put this on quite a fast speed, and then I will resin coat it and see how it gets on. I hope you enjoy this video. Thanks, bye. So the paper I'm going to be using is this. It's the Langton paper, and I think you can get any paper, it doesn't really matter. It's 406mm by 305mm, and actually it's watercolour paper. And the reason I like to use this watercolour paper is because it has quite a rough surface, and I really like the effect that that gives me with my oil pastels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get myself set up, and then we will come back. So what I've done now is I've prepped my piece of paper, and I've masking taped that down because I do like to have a border. And to save me a lot of time sketching, I had a picture already, so I've just put it over the top of a piece of carbon paper and gone round to identify where the main areas of the body are that I want, and then I will go on from there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do this in black and white with quite a heavy black background that I may do in acrylics, or I may do in oil pastels. I'm not 100% sure yet until I've kind of finished the picture and decided how it looks. So once it's done, I will seal it, and I will then resin over it well, I'll attach it to a piece of board first, and then I'll resin over it and see how it comes out. And this is a bit of an experiment. It's a bit something very different from my channel, but it is something that I really enjoy doing. So hope you enjoy watching it. From now on, it's going to be speeded up quite a lot to enable me to fill in and get everything that I need done in a short period of time. Thank you very much. I will be narrating all the way through this, so if you don't want to hear me dribbling on and talking about my process and what I'm using, then please feel free to just mute me. As you can see, I've chosen my colours, and as I'm colourblind, I do find it much easier just to use blacks, whites and greys. The things that you can see that I've got there on the right hand side, which are my blending tools, they're just literally very, very tightly wound paper, and I use, as you can see, I've got 4 here. They're different sizes, but also I've shaped different ends to them. So some of them are quite pointed, some of them got more of an edge to them, one of them's quite rounded, and I find that they're really useful. I also have lollipop sticks that I've kind of shaped the ends down to a blade, so if I want to remove something or move something, then I can do that, and you will see me use those throughout. So as you can see here, I always start at the top. I don't know why, and I always start at the top and work down. I've laid down my colours. What I find is if I work with a piece of paper underneath my hand, I don't tend to smudge things as much because oil pastels do smudge quite a lot. Additionally,
as you're using them, the friction makes them really warm. So sometimes you need to go back to something once it's solidified and cooled off a little bit. So I don't really have any way of or method of ensuring I get shadow. So sometimes I'll put a lighter colour down first, and sometimes I'll put a darker colour down. I'm sure people that there is a proper way of doing it, like there is with oil paints and with watercolours, but I'm completely self-taught with this. So I just do what works for me. So as I've got the picture that I'm drawing from in front of me, it's actually stuck to my tripod. So all I'm really looking at that is form and shading. So the depth of the colours, whether I think they're lighter or darker or not, and then the rest I'm kind of filling in myself from my own imagination. And the great thing about this is it has no hands on it, because the hands are off the page, because I just cannot do hands. So here we go. I'm laying down the different shades of the grey, and then I'm going in there, as you saw, with the lolly stick and scraping a little bit of it out and using the blending tool to my advantage to move it about. Now, what I always try and do when I'm using the blending tool is I try and go in the way that I think and blend in the way that I think the skin is falling or the muscle is formed or the light is hitting something. I don't try and go against that, because that can actually have a negative effect. And as you saw, I tiddled about there with the face because I'm not quite happy with that, how that's sitting at the moment, especially where the eye area is, as there's like a black line that looks like Batman. So I go in here, I'm going in with my lighter colours, and again moving it about with the lolly stick, and then blending it through. What I love about these sorts of pictures is there's always a lot of different tones. I cannot do pets. I don't know why I cannot do animals with oil pastels. I've only tried once, so I really should try again. I always use human subjects, and I've had a few commissions for people to do their children and things like that, and they've always been very pleased with them. In fact, here's a picture of one of the children I've been working on as well. I mean, it's not finished yet. So there I'm going in with a lot smaller tool and doing some blending, and now I'm doing the arm muscles, and there is quite a contrast in the light here. As you can see, because it's going to have a black background, the head is tilted quite a long way back, so that is a lot darker than this arm here, which is actually in the foreground and has got a lot more light to it. And just one or two little dips and drops of light can actually really transform muscle structure and really how the image looks. And you'll see that towards the end when I put just a couple of bits in. I wasn't happy with that where the shoulder is. I wasn't happy with that, so I've lightened that up a lot again, because that's even further in the foreground. And now I'm just putting a bit of what really would be veins on the actual picture, because muscular people have veins. You know, we need to take that into consideration. So as we're getting further down the arm to where the hand would be, thankfully it's not there, that would be, I think, a more darker, shadowy area, because that would be perhaps shadowed by the torso and the way he's got it, the way he's got the rest of his body. So now the great bit, which is putting the stomach muscles in. If only I had some. This has definitely got a six-pack. I've got a keg, so I'm quite happy with that. So this is how I think about putting the muscles in. Now, as I said about the way the skin falls, because where I'm doing now actually kind of rounds in and then dips in. So I'm actually, if you can see, I'm going round that in a curve, as opposed to up and down or just straight across. And I do the same with the stomach muscles as well. And the great thing I think about oil pastels is if actually you are a little bit heavy on something, then you can just lighten it up, or you can remove it. See there, that little bit of white in where the armpit is, I just think that sets it off a little bit more, but it does need blending in. You don't want it bright white. So now I'm going in with the background. I did decide that as it was an oil pastel picture, I should use oil pastels for it. And this is one of the areas where I wish, once I'd done it, laid down the background, that I'd actually stood back and looked at it. Because when I start to blend this in, here, as you can see, I'm blending it in, I always blend in with quite a big tool, and then I go around the very edges with a smaller tool. Now, actually, where the white paper is showing on those edges, certainly on the arm and towards the back and the buttocks, I wish I'd left those little white dots in because I think they look really good, but I didn't stand back from my picture, which is what I'm always telling people to do. So I hope you've liked this speeded up version. This actually took me about 1 hour and 40 minutes to achieve.
So that's how the picture finished off. Now it's been sealed a couple of times, and I'm going to be looking to cover it in resin to see how it takes a coat of resin once I've adhered this to a board.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like and share this video as much as you can to help my channel grow. Bye.